If, like me, you were a bit depressed over the state of comedy these days, where a lot has changed with time and with culture, and things have gotten less abrasive, a lot more safe, and way too PC. And, in essence, what you have instead is a dying art that once used to be the great specter of comedy. You can look to these certain people that are trying to resurrect it. Notably the Daily Wire. Because, again, the Daily Wire is trying to make some big steps in the entertainment space on their own. And they're doing quite a good job. I mean, especially with their thrillers. I mean, Run, Hide, Fight, Shut In, those original movies look great. And then they got the Gina Carano movie coming up. I'm so excited for that. Terror on the Prairie. Can't wait. But they've also got this new show of Adam Carolla, who is a leading podcast figure, if not familiar with him. He does a lot of stuff, I think, I would assume, again, in the comedy space, but he's done some stuff that I've seen, at least from my background, that was more centered around politics and just larger society. For example, as I said, the first time I saw him was in a clip with Dave Rubin, a very popular political commentator, kind of on the recap that Dave Rubin does like every August of, okay, I took a break for a month from like everything, in the news, so off the grid completely, cell phones locked in a safe, everything's shut off. I have a lot of respect for Dave Rubin. Those segments are a lot of fun. But then he does this little episode on coming back, I think in like September, at least the end of August, somewhere around there, where he'll bring on some, co-host. It was Michael Knowles in the year previous, and then this year it was Adam Carolla. So that was my first introduction. Where they do the recap of, here's everything you've missed. It's actually a lot of fun. There's just a lot of comedy in that particular setup. But in terms of a show, Adam Carolla here is getting his own Daily Wire exclusive comedy club sort of show, like a stand-up routine. And from the first clip, it looks pretty good. Now, granted, he had a Jay Leno, who's a very respected name, especially the late-night talk show space. Someone that I don't tend to watch too many of the late-night shows, especially not today. I don't care for any of the late-night talk shows. They're just boring. They're not funny. They're cringe. Pretty much all of them. But Jay Leno for many years was, again, a very respected name, and he still is. And this was not just the first introduction to me in terms of the show, but also to Jay Leno. But Jay Leno seemed to be a guest, because the clip we're about to look at, again, this is Adam Carolla's show, it's in his name. How does it stand up on his own? Again, I'm not familiar with Adam Carolla to the highest extent as many other people. So I'm still trying to get understanding for what can I expect going in. Well, no holds barred jokes, which were, I think, delightful. Anyway, at least in the first clip. But now we have a second clip I think is a little more potent. The last clip we looked at was called Jay Leno on Fauci's Fat COVID Soldiers. Still kind of confused by that, but okay, it was kind of funny. This one's, if you throw a shoe at Joe Biden. Well, politicians have a history of, for some reason it is shoes. It was this way, I don't know if I'm be very clear, we're not advocating for anything here. Like, don't put that into action as read this as like the joke in a comedy space. It's not meant to, like, what's that saying? Kids don't try this at home. Adults don't try it either, okay? Anyway, I don't know why it's shoes, though. Because, this was, who was it first? I think it was former President Bush and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. She got hers. His was when he was president, and he was like at the White House, and then hers was like some political talk. I forget where it was, but there's a history of shoes for some reason. I don't know. But you ever see shirts or bandanas or something? Oh, those would be safer. I don't know. They probably damage less. Not to say to do it, but anyway. Let's see where this goes. I mean, you wanted. No holds barred comedy. And hey, as I've said, I try not to get too political on this channel. I try to keep that out of, what I'm doing. But sometimes you come across a project that has a political twist to it or political foundation. Maybe it's in the way of a documentary or a historical project, or perhaps it's into a stand-up comedy routine that's trying to resurrect comedy in its accurate form of the way it should be. So sometimes you find circles, but I try to be very middle of the road in the way I cover things. But this should be fun. I mean, again, you're trying to get back to the old art of stand-up comedy where everybody's on the table. Respectfully, of course. But everything is on the table, right? There's no safe spaces. I don't know. I can be a little bit snarky. Let's go ahead and watch this clip. Let's see comedy, resurrected again. We're going to go ahead and watch this first. We'll talk about it more in my condensed review segment. I'll watch the video together. I am, again, as I said, very impressed with Daily Wire. I'm definitely excited to see more of their future endeavors. This is a much shorter clip, by the way, too. Like, half a minute. Okay, here we go.
But I was thinking about that press conference that George W. Bush did about 13 years ago in Iraq. Remember somebody threw a shoe at his head? He slipped it like Floyd Mayweather, right? He didn't flail, hand didn't come up, he just slipped it and was right back on prompter, man.
So did Mrs. Clinton. She just kind of like slipped like,
throw a shoe at Joe Biden?
Very interactive audience.
You will kill him.
Like I said, much shorter clip. But hey, I think, he has the potential. It was, again, a shorter bit. But, like I said, the difference in terms of looking at both clips. The first one had a featured guest. Obviously, again, a revered name in the late night talk show case. I imagine probably there's more guests, too, as well, besides Jay Leno. But this one demonstrates, Adam Carolla in leading his own show. And I think, again, as somebody who's not seen him too much, there's potential. I think this could be a very strong, especially, there's a huge demographic for this, obviously. I'd imagine probably Twitter won't like it too much, but who cares? Anyway, seriously, who cares about Twitter? Twitter's junk. This looks like a lot of fun. Like I said, pretty ballsy jokes, but, I mean, hey, I said exactly what, where he went with that. I know history. And yeah, there is I don't know why it's shoes, but okay. There's much better ways to voice your complaints than through violence or throwing clothes at people. What are your guys, especially politicians, don't do that. What are your guys' thoughts with Adam Carolla, Truth Yeller, at least the first run of it? Let me know down below. Don't forget all the good stuff with subscribing, the sharing, and that bell. I do think his jokes have a lot of truth to them. Until we get to watch more from the show. Maybe again, I have to get subscribed to Daily Wire. There's just way too many streaming services these days. But I do support what they're doing, largely because they brought Gina Carano back on board after Disney. Disney, I believe, acted rashly, probably again the behest of Kathleen Kennedy and her posse. But Daily Wire were there to be good Samaritans. That's very commendable, and it's a financial thing, but I will get on there one day. I have to, because their movies look so great, and I have to watch Gina's movie eventually, and I also want to watch my show. But until we get to look at more from the Daily Wire and future entertainment endeavors, I will see you guys at WordPoint. That was me, but for now, thanks for watching this video. I love you guys, to fellow man. God bless, and peace.